The birth control pill is
Birth control pill.
birth control.
Birth control.
The conversation around birth control can be super overwhelming. It can be hard to decide what type to try, what brand to use, when to get on it, and even if it's right for you. And if you're feeling this way, don't worry. You are not alone. Millions of women around the world have asked themselves the very same questions that you probably have right now. Hi, I'm Margaret Kollross, a Boston-based journalist, and I've asked myself these very same questions. So today I wanted to break it all down with a few women who know a thing or two about birth control and women's health. For me, I started my birth control journey this summer before my senior year of high school. I was dating and I was about to go off to college, so it made sense when my mother came to me and said, "I want you to be on birth control." And well, of course, the conversation was a little bit awkward. I am so glad that she was the one that brought it up first, as there are so many girls that are terrified to bring this controversial topic up to their parents. Despite birth control being a very, very, very common medical prescription, the conversation around it is still filled with shame and embarrassment. However, before we really get into things, let me start off by saying why I started birth control. My mother put me on birth control for one reason only: to prevent pregnancy. And that's the only thing that birth control is really tested for and supposed to be prescribed for. However, there are a ton of teenage girls who started birth control to fix symptoms that were not related to not wanting to get pregnant.
Well, basically, I think I just moved from Thailand when I was 15, and suddenly I was just like really struggling with acne. So one day my mom saw me and she was like, "Oh, your acne is like getting a little bit worse." So we made an appointment with the GP and we just asked for some help. The only answer I got was to try birth control pills. I had no idea what birth control even meant, you know? They just prescribed me like 3 months of maybe or more of birth control pills there and then.
I started taking birth control 8 or 9 years ago. So I was having super regular periods, super bad cramps and heavy bleeding, and the idea was floated to me by my doctor that I should get on birth control. And at first I was not super into it just because it was like taboo. Like I was going on birth control, but I was going on birth control for health reasons.
Were you shocked when she came home and was like, "Well, they put me on birth control"?
I'm like, okay, I was a little like, oh, that's different. But it made sense because I knew that that was one of the things that it's good for, is regulating.
And while it may be easy for doctors to just prescribe birth control as a fix for their symptoms, it can actually lead to more health problems down the road.
There are a few studies that there is a small increased risk in breast cancer. It's not a huge percentage, but it is an increased risk.
My last checkup with the GP was just to top up and renew my prescription. And they took my blood pressure as normal. And then suddenly, like, they turned around and said to me, like, "We can no longer prescribe you birth control." Like, ever again, basically. Like, my blood pressure was like super high and I was really at high risk of developing blood clots. So yeah, I was just sort of like freaking out, like, what do you mean? Like, I felt fine. So they decided for me that I could never take it again.
And stories like Jazmine's are all too common because a lot of women are unsure of what birth control will actually do to their bodies.
You can get prescribed it for so many things that have nothing to do with pregnancy prevention. And is that the right choice? Maybe. Getting on birth control very young at 17 it's perfectly safe. It'll help your endometriosis. It'll help with your pain. And that was it. There were no questions as to if it was the right solution for somebody my age, if there were other things I needed to consider before taking it. I have a friend who had a stroke in her 20s. Some people say, "Oh, that's really rare." Okay, but it happens. And then it's not so rare when it happens to you, right?
And that's why it's so important to talk with your doctor to find out what are the side effects of your birth control and is it even right for you.
So what the birth control pill does is it is sending a signal back to your brain. We don't want you to ovulate. So it's giving you hormones in a synthetic form that are making your brain think, "I don't need to produce hormones." So with that extra estrogen in a synthetic form, that is driving the production of estrogen in your breasts and in your fat cells. The most common side effects are breast tenderness, water retention, weight gain, because you're getting more estrogen. In addition, you're getting a synthetic progestin, which is not the same as progesterone, which your body makes. So the side effect of that is the depression. Sometimes people have hair loss. Sometimes people have, again, the weight gain with that as well.
I will say the one side effect that I don't like about birth control was the weight gain. Now, I don't know if that was part of my metabolism slowing down because I stopped playing sports. It was your body was getting older. It was the pandemic. It was whatever it was. But I noticed that it was so much harder to lose weight after getting on it. I don't know if you experienced it.
I had weight gain. Yeah, I think it was combined with the getting older and all that stuff too.
So it could be paired with other things, but I noticed it makes it harder to lose weight.
So my second book that's coming out later this year is about weight loss and semaglutide, because you'll see women get on birth control, weight becomes a thing, and there's a real lack of understanding of the physiology of hunger and weight loss and what that means. And so again, just take a semaglutide or just take a tirzepatide or whatever, and maybe that's the right solution for you. But do you know what the mechanism is?
And for those women that are using hormonal birth control as a mask for other symptoms like acne, when they get off that birth control, their symptoms can come back and be even worse than before.
I think I had a good 6 months after stopping the pill where I saw no changes. I was completely the same until one day around 6 months. That was when symptoms started to appear. That was my worst nightmare. It was so much more than before I went on the pill. I would feel so bloated. After every meal I had, I would have digestive issues. I would be very sensitive to a lot of foods that I never used to be. Even vegetables like broccoli. I would be sensitive to things like that. And I just felt like I was always constantly bloated and I didn't understand what was happening until I did my own research into birth control.
Your experience on what your body will go through after you stop birth control will depend on what you were taking, how long you were taking it, and the reason for taking it. If you're just taking it because you want to prevent pregnancy and you had no problems with your periods, you might not have as much of a problem getting off. If you went on the birth control pill because you had heavy, long periods or irregular periods and then you're going off, you might experience that irregularity again because the pill doesn't fix that issue.
And when women decide to stop using hormonal birth control, it can actually take a while for their bodies to readjust to making that hormone again.
The thing that surprised me the most was how long it took for my period to regulate. I had been on progestin, which is a synthetic progesterone, for so long that my body's natural ability to produce progesterone was very depleted. Yeah, it took 2 years of working with functional health doctors, being very vigilant about my nutrition and my recovery and my sleep to manage that. I don't know, I guess you're like, oh, it'll just come back quickly, and no, it took years.
And although various methods of birth control have been around for centuries, like how the ancient Egyptian women used to use animal dung during intercourse to prevent pregnancy, sex and birth control are still such taboo subjects in today's society.
Women's health research is way behind. Within the last year or two, they finally mapped out the clitoris and all the nerve endings and everything where they hadn't had research on that for up until now. How is it that we were this late in this century not knowing what we know about the penis?
And the only way for you to learn more is to listen to your body and do your research.
First and foremost, psychoeducation, body literacy. Body literacy was really checking in with yourself, connecting to your body, and trying to figure out what that actually means, right? And then the foundational stuff, nutrition, stress management, sleep, movement. With that, also the importance of the sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. These are all things that are very important to women. Testosterone gets oh, that's a boy hormone. No, it's just a human hormone. Men make more of it, but it's so critical to women. Once you understand those aspects, how does birth control impact it? Good or bad?
I didn't even know what birth control even meant. As a half Asian English person, you just don't know what that means, but you're so desperate and you just feel like I'll try anything to help my acne, because all you want to do is fit in and all you want to do is to have clear skin again. So I took it, thinking that it was helping my health or fixing my hormones. It never was fixing it. If I knew the truth, or if I knew how it actually worked when I was 15, I would probably have the common sense to think I might think twice about this birth control.
And it can be so hard for young people to know how to advocate themselves when they go to the doctor to have that conversation about going on birth control.
We should trust our doctors. You're going in, there should be that patient-doctor relationship. And there are great doctors out there, and there are great OBGYNs out there. I think it's easy to be hypercritical of the healthcare system, but I think it's multifactorial, right? There's so many things going on, short appointments, that education piece, how many OBGYNs have a lot of knowledge in endocrinology, and they really understand the anatomy aspect, and they're there to address certain things, cyst and pregnancy and stuff like that. But hormones and kind of what we deal with is complex, and the issues that you have aren't going to be the same as I have. And so prescribing one birth control method may not always be the best fit.
I wish there was more intentional choosing and selecting from the providers. And it's very easy to write a birth control pill, and we were never taught which pill is the best for this one. And I used to give that lecture to the residents. If you said, hey, listen, my mom had breast cancer and my aunt had breast cancer, I would say, why don't you try this form of birth control? If you have a teen with acne, this is the pill. If you have someone who just had a baby, this is the pill versus this age. So they were very intentional about choosing which pill for which clinical scenario, instead of just, hey, which ad have I seen on TV, or which pen do I have? And again, it's not that the providers don't want that, they just don't really know.
And for those of you who are watching that are just terrified to bring up this topic to your parents or your guardians, best thing to do is come at them with the facts on why birth control is right for you.
Ultimately, if we want to have that conversation, kind of educating yourself first. What's the root reason why, right? Why do we want to start birth control? Are we experiencing symptoms that maybe could be addressed through other factors? I would also say understanding what the symptoms are if you start having side effects down the road, right? I want to go on the pill. Okay, so what are the side effects? I want to go on the shot. I want to go on whatever. What are the side effects? And really understanding that. So if you see those signs, you know how to mitigate or at least accept what's going to happen.
You want to bring it up in such a way that you don't want to be judged for your decision. You're trying to be proactive. You're trying to be responsible. So you would like the option of discussing that with their blessing versus coming to you, oops, mom, I'm pregnant. I guess framing it that way, to me as a parent, I would have a lot of respect for that. I mean, what mom was going to reject? Hey, I would like your advice. I would like your opinion. What form do you think is best? And would you come with me to my doctor's appointment? So I think approaching it that way versus more about the sex, might be better received by a parent.
Before you bring up to your parents, have research to back up why you want to get on it. And it doesn't have to be the most thorough, but just don't walk up and just be like, I want to be on it. And if it's for sexual reasons, be straightforward, but also have facts to back your story up about how birth control is healthcare, how it can prevent unwanted pregnancies and etc. But if you are wanting to take it for other benefits that I was taking it for, go to your parents and be like, look, I am miserable. I can't go to school, I can't concentrate in school, I have to constantly get up and use the restroom, I can't play sports, I can't do instrument practice without having to get up and use the restroom. Why do you want to be on it?
And for those parents watching, it can be so hard to decide when to talk to your child about birth control and how you're going to talk to them about it. But you need to do it. It is such an important conversation to have for your peace of mind and for your child's safety.
I can tell you down the road now, treating with some menopausal women, that family of origin and how you feel about sex can affect you negatively your whole life. If it's always been shame, don't do that, you shouldn't do that, I mean, that belief carries through even when you're married and having sex. It's gotten much better, obviously, now with having internet, social media, that kind of thing, but I still think it's not as open as it could be. As a gynecologist, obviously you hope your kids make good decisions. But I had that discussion with my kids. Hey, listen, you come to me, no questions asked. If you want birth control, I'm not going to judge you. I just want you to be smart about it. At least I'm coming from like unwanted pregnancy, teen pregnancy risks, and the options in some states that you have now, the way some laws have changed. If your kid comes to you with a medical question, and if they ask you like, what is sex or whatever, having that be scientifically accurate without any emotions or judgment. So that's what I tried to do.
It's not just for pregnancy prevention. I mean, she didn't go on it for that. I did, but it's good for a lot of things. And it's just like a regular medication, it just has other purposes.
It can save lives. Who's to say that you were on it and it prevented you from getting pregnant, having an ectopic pregnancy? The fetus wouldn't survive and it could kill you. But in the world we live in, there's a super negative connotation with birth control and women having access to abortions, but abortions are healthcare because things like ectopic pregnancies are going to kill the mother. And maybe taking a pill would prevent it. And some people don't want hormonal birth control because they don't want to put extra hormones in their body, and that's totally fine. But there are non-hormonal birth control options. IUD, Nexplanon, the pill, the patch, the ring. More awareness should be brought to the fact that birth control is healthcare.
And although, according to the CDC, over 60 million Americans use birth control, it is still a hugely controversial topic, especially in American politics. Currently, birth control is legal in all 50 states, but that might not be the case for long. In 2022, the Supreme Court overturned its decision in the Roe v. Wade case, which was the landmark decision that made abortions a constitutional right. They came back and said that actually, the Constitution does not confer a woman's right to have an abortion. And while birth control is different than abortions, one of the Supreme Court justices, Justice Clarence Thomas, argued that the Supreme Court should look at some of its other past rulings, like the Griswold v. Connecticut decision, which first decided that birth control was a constitutional right. And for those of you that are super worried about losing access to birth control, like so many people are right now with everything that's going on, don't worry. There are ways to help fight the good fight. One way to help is to write to your state congresspeople. Let them hear your voice and tell them why you think birth control needs to stay legal. Remember, congresspeople work for you, so you have to let them know what issues matter and that your vote does too. Which leads me into my next point. Don't forget to vote. Voting is one of the only ways that we can bring about change in this country. And you have to vote while you still can before that right gets taken away as well. But for those of you watching that are just so freaked out and worried right now, don't you fret. There are a ton of books and programs and free information online that can help you find ways to fix your symptoms without putting synthetic hormones into your body.
We have a free online course that kind of spells out your hormones if you're interested in finding out what your hormones do and what are the ways that you can eat best for your hormones or regulate your hormones on your own. My kind of mission is to educate girls of all ages just about hormones, not just contraception, not just don't take it, not just menopause, but mainly the underserved as far as that type of information.
I do have a completely free guide specifically for women who are struggling after coming off birth control, whether that's, physically, mentally, or emotionally. What I say to my clients now and what I'm trying to bring awareness is that birth control is just a mask. It just silences your symptoms for, however long you decide to take it. If you're planning to take it for the rest of your life, then fine. But eventually when you come off the pill, you're gonna have to face those same issues because birth control doesn't address the root causes or the imbalances that are actually going on deeper inside you, and they don't tell you that.
My website, tierraduncan.com, try to keep it very simple. The book, The Birth Control Illusion, launches on February 26th. But I'm all about education. I just make a lot of videos. I talk about a lot of stuff. I'm very passionate about the subject. My goal as an educator is for you and I to have the same information and you to make the decision that's best for you. For some women, getting a birth control, it's what fits them best. And I am all about empowering yourself. Like, you go, girl. But I also want you just to know what you're getting into.
And lastly, if you have any questions or concerns, obviously go see a doctor first if you can. But there are also a ton of online communities that are made to help women and people answer questions about their reproductive health, their sexual health, and women's health in general. And these communities are also great at helping you remember that you are not alone.